Croatia is a European country that only became independent in 1991. In terms of age, it is not much older than many viewers today, and is even younger than some of the older audience watching this video. Most people know Croatia through football, as this nation of just over 3.8 million people has appeared in almost every major European and global tournament since the 1990s. But beyond football and the red-roofed villages along the Adriatic coast, this former Yugoslav republic has a truly fascinating history in one of Eurasia's most sensitive regions. Although locals call their country Hrvatska, in this video we will simply use Croatia for convenience. The country lies in southeastern Europe on the Balkan Peninsula. Southern Europe can be divided into three peninsulas from west to east: Iberia, home to Spain and Portugal, the Italian peninsula, and finally the Balkans. Surrounded by the Black Sea, the Adriatic Sea, and the Mediterranean, this region was one of the earliest cradles of human civilization. Croatia is shaped like a sickle lying in the far northwest of the Balkan Peninsula. One side faces the sea, the rest borders 5 neighbors: Slovenia, Hungary, Serbia, a very short stretch in the far south bordering Montenegro, and it goes on to enclose nearly 2/3 of Bosnia and Herzegovina's borders. Croatia lies among the former Yugoslav republics. Except for Hungary, all of its neighbors were once part of Yugoslavia. A 7,000-year-old road beneath the sea. In 2023, beneath the clear waters of the Adriatic Sea, scientists discovered traces of a road built nearly 7,000 years ago. This stone road lies near an island in southern Croatia. About 4 meters wide and made of large stone slabs, it dates back to around 4900 BC. Researchers believe it once connected a settlement of the Neolithic Hvar culture. Over time, rising sea levels submerged the entire area, which now lies about 5 meters underwater. This suggests that prehistoric people along Croatia's coast already knew how to build villages and stone infrastructure. During the Bronze Age, the region was inhabited by the Illyrians, a name that was used by the ancient Greeks for their northern neighbors. In AD 9, they were conquered by the Roman Empire. So where did the Croats actually come from? The origin of the Croats remains debated, but they were likely early Slavic tribes. Historians usually classify Croats as South Slavs, similar to many neighboring peoples across the wider Balkans. After Roman rule ended in the late 6th and early 7th centuries, these groups settled here and gradually formed the Croatian nation. The Duchy of Croatia, established in 818, is considered the first Croatian state. For centuries, Croatia was influenced by Hungary and the Habsburg monarchy, while also facing the Ottoman Empire in the east. Along the Adriatic coast, many cities remained under the control of the Republic of Venice. How was Yugoslavia formed? By the 19th century, the Pan-Slav movement, which promoted unity among Slavic peoples, had gained strength. Many believed that the South Slavs should live united in a single state. Even more importantly, after World War I, the Ottoman Empire had lost most of its European territories, while Austria-Hungary collapsed. In 1918, South Slav lands united to form one kingdom, the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. In 1929, the country was renamed Yugoslavia. Yugo means south, while Slavia refers to the Slavs, literally meaning the land of the southern Slavs. During World War II, Yugoslavia was invaded by Nazi Germany. During the occupation, the partisan movement led by Tito emerged, fighting fascism while building communist forces. After the war, Tito's forces took control, abolished the monarchy, and established communist rule, the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. The federation had 6 republics: Croatia, Serbia, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, and Montenegro. Unlike most Eastern European countries, Tito's Yugoslavia did not fully depend on the Soviet Union. It pursued its own path and co-founded the non-aligned movement. After Tito's death in 1980, economic problems and ethnic tensions steadily increased. The original goal of Yugoslavia was idealistic: people of shared South Slavic origins would unite in one country. In reality, however, these peoples had very different historical experiences and lived under the influence of various empires and religions. South Slavs also differed in religion, national identity, and political interests. Unwilling to accept a Yugoslavia dominated by Serbia, Croatia and Slovenia declared independence on June 25, 1991. This marked the beginning of Yugoslavia's breakup in the early 1990s and led to the independent Balkan states we know today. A special flag. Have you noticed that many countries with Slavic roots have very similar flag colors, blue, white, and red? Croatia is no exception, with 3 equal horizontal stripes. This is not a coincidence. These colors are traditional among Slavic peoples and were officially adopted at the Pan-Slav Congress in Prague in 1848. Even socialist Yugoslavia, despite adopting the red star as a communist symbol, kept these 3 colors as its main design. The Croatian flag was adopted shortly before the country left Yugoslavia. The current version was approved in December 1990, only a few months before independence. Although Croatia's flag may resemble those of Russia or Serbia, it is much easier to recognize because of the large coat of arms in the center, featuring the famous red and white checkerboard pattern. Above it are 5 smaller shields arranged like a crown, symbolizing 5 historic regions: Central Croatia, Dubrovnik, Dalmatia, Istria, and Slavonia. When all these details are taken together, the flag actually contains 6 colors in total, including black. For some reason, the creator of this video finds this checkerboard design especially striking. The famous jersey of the Croatian national football team is also directly inspired by the national coat of arms, making it instantly recognizable. The red and white checkerboard symbol, known as šahovnica, meaning chessboard, has existed since at least the late 15th century. Legend says that a Croatian king was once captured and won back his freedom by defeating his opponent in 3 games of chess, later adopting the pattern as his symbol. However, historians consider this only a folk tale. Most believe the checkerboard was originally a medieval noble or royal emblem that gradually became a symbol of Croatia. Master of the Eastern Adriatic coast. Looking at a map, Croatia's long coastline and endless chain of islands are truly impressive. Croatia controls most of the eastern coast of the Adriatic Sea. After independence, it inherited about 90% of the coastline of former Yugoslavia, giving it overwhelming control of the Adriatic coast, and leaving only around 40 kilometers to Slovenia, 20 kilometers to Bosnia and Herzegovina, and 290 kilometers to Montenegro. Today, Croatia has a mainland coastline of 1,777 kilometers, while the coastlines of its islands add another 4,058 kilometers. In total, the country's coastline stretches for about 6,268 kilometers, or nearly 3,900 miles. This makes Croatia, despite ranking only 124th in area, the 15th country in the world by coastline length. It also leaves neighboring Bosnia and Herzegovina with the world's second shortest coastline among coastal countries. Croatia is blessed not only with a long coastline, but also with one of Europe's most beautiful coastal landscapes. Rugged terrain, steep cliffs, countless islands, and ancient towns combine to create a stunning shoreline. The Croatian archipelago includes 1,244 islands, islets, and rocks. Only 48 are inhabited, while most remain untouched. Among them, Hvar in southern Croatia is the country's most famous island, known for its lavender fields, historic harbors, and scenery often described as a jewel of the Adriatic. In the northern Adriatic, Quoc and Cres are the 2 largest islands, each covering about 400 square kilometers or 150 square miles. Quoc is also the most populated island, home to an estimated 20,000 people. Croatia is also home to the sea organ, a unique blend of architecture, music, and nature. Waves pass through underwater pipes to create melodies, producing different sounds depending on weather and sea conditions. Topography. Croatia covers 56,600 square kilometers, or 21,800 square miles, roughly equivalent in size to West Virginia, the 10th smallest U.S. state. the country can be divided into three major geographic regions. First is the Pannonian Basin, a lowland area in eastern and northern Croatia that continues into neighboring Hungary. Mostly lying between 100 and 200 meters above sea level, this region covers much of the country, including the capital, Zagreb. Second are the Dinarids, a coastal parallel limestone and dolomite mountain range rising above 1,000 meters, or 3,500 feet. Water erosion has created classic karst landscapes filled with caves and sinkholes. This region is wild and sparsely populated. The third region is the Adriatic coastal basin, ranging from sea level to around 300 meters in elevation. It is home to important coastal cities such as Split, Rijeka, Zadar, and Pula. Because of its varied landscape, Croatia has diverse climates. The eastern plains and central areas have a continental climate, with warm summers and cold winters. Temperatures can drop below minus 20 degrees Celsius in winter and exceed 40 during extreme summer heat waves. Mountain areas are cooler in summer and often receive heavy snowfall in winter. Along the Adriatic coast and offshore islands, the climate is typically Mediterranean, with sunny, dry summers and relatively mild, wet winters. Average temperatures range from 5 degrees Celsius in January to around 20 in June. Forests are also important, covering nearly 47% of Croatia's land area. Combined with varied climates and landscapes, Croatia is a top European biodiversity hotspot with over 38,000 species. 10% of the country is protected, including 8 national parks, 2 strict reserves, and 11 nature parks. Besides the coast, the mountains are also popular among hikers and nature lovers. The most spectacular is Mount Dinara, which contains Croatia's highest peak at 1,831 meters, or just over 6,000 feet. An economy inside the European Union. After declaring independence in 1991, Croatia became involved in a fierce conflict known as the Croatian War of Independence. While Slovenia gained independence after a brief 10-day conflict, the war in Croatia lasted about 5 years. This was largely because ethnic Serbs made up a significant share of the population in some regions. Many opposed leaving Yugoslavia and received support from Serbia and the Yugoslav People's Army. The war finally ended in 1995. According to Britannica, by the late 1990s, nearly 1/5 of Croatia's working-age population was unemployed. In 2003, Croatia applied to join the European Union. This became a turning point as reforms and EU development funds transformed the country's economy. Croatia officially joined the EU in 2013, and 3 years ago it adopted the euro as its official currency. Today, agriculture contributes less than 10% of the economy. The fertile plains are the country's main farming region, producing sugar beets, corn, wheat, potatoes, and barley. The Western Hills are known for vineyards, sheep farming, and cattle raising. Along the coast and on the islands, people raise sheep and goats, grow olives, grapes, Mediterranean fruits and vegetables, and produce honey. Industry and construction account for around 26% of GDP. Key industries include food processing, pharmaceuticals, machinery, chemicals, oil refining, paper and wood products, and especially shipbuilding. Shipbuilding is a strong industry. More than half of the population works in the service sector, the most important part of Croatia's economy. Tourism plays the leading role, while information technology, logistics, finance, and trade are also important. Croatia's main trading partners are Germany, Italy, and neighboring countries. Major exports include fuel, ships, chemical products, food, machinery, and textiles. In return, Croatia imports chemicals and transportation equipment. The country's latest GDP reached around $106 billion, while GDP per capita stands at over $27,300. Although this is below the EU average, Croatia is still classified as a high-income economy and remains one of the most developed countries in the Balkans. Croatians. According to Worldometer, Croatia's population stands at around 3.8 million, ranking about 130th in the world. Population density is relatively low at roughly 68 people per square kilometer, or 177 per square mile. Croatia has a homogeneous population, with ethnic Croats making up about 91.6%. The largest minority groups include Serbs at 3.2%, along with Bosniaks, Italians, and Hungarians. Modern Croats have an identity shaped by Central Europe, the Mediterranean, and the Balkans. They are known for strong national pride, hospitality, and a deep passion for football. The official language is Croatian, a South Slavic language written in the Latin alphabet with 30 letters, including several distinctive characters with special marks, as shown on the screen. Croatia has no official religion, and freedom of religion is guaranteed by the Constitution. The Constitution also states that all religious communities are equal before the law and separate from the state. Most Croatians are Christian, with around 83% identifying as Roman Catholic, alongside smaller Eastern Orthodox and Protestant communities. It is an interesting fact that many Croatian surnames end with "ixi." Looking at the national football team alone, we find names such as Luka Modric, Mateo Kovacic, and Ivan Perisic. This specific suffix has deep Slavic origins and roughly translates to mean son of or descendant of. Consequently, as a direct result of this linguistic heritage, it is extremely common in Croatia and across much of the Balkans. In Croatia, about 1 out of every 2 people has a surname ending this way. It is similar to the son suffix in English names like Johnson or Anderson, and EZ in Spanish names like Harris or Rodriguez. However, Croatia's most famous historical figure actually came from a minority community. His name was Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest inventors in history. He was born in 1856 in the village of Smiljan, then part of the Austrian Empire, and now located in central Croatia. Tesla was ethnically Serb, yet Croatia still considers him an important part of its historical and cultural heritage. He is best known for his revolutionary alternating current systems, which form the foundation of modern power grids worldwide. His inventions also helped pave the way for wireless technologies, electric motors, and power transmission systems still used today. Another fascinating story is that Croatia is considered the birthplace of the necktie, one of the world's most common accessories. In the 17th century, Croatian mercenaries wore distinctive pieces of cloth around their necks while serving in France. The French were impressed, and in a fashion-forward country like France, this unique Croatian item quickly became a trend. Or today's meta. In fact, the French word cravat comes from the word Croat. Back in Croatia, the world's largest necktie was once created. Measuring 808 meters long, it took 5 days to complete and was wrapped around the Pula Arena in 2003. Major cities. Zagreb. Zagreb is the capital and largest city of Croatia. It serves as the country's political, economic, and cultural center. The city has a population of around 800,000. Located in northern Croatia near the Slovenian border, Zagreb is an important transport hub linking the Balkans with Central Europe. The city features historic Central European architecture, squares, and centuries-old neighborhoods. Zagreb also hosts Croatia's leading universities, museums, and institutions, while driving its finance, trade, and services. Dubrovnik. Tourism is Croatia's leading industry, and Dubrovnik is one of the country's most famous destinations. Located on the southern Adriatic coast near Montenegro, Dubrovnik is renowned for its massive stone walls surrounding an old town that has remained remarkably well preserved since medieval times. Thanks to its beautiful coastal setting and rich history, the city attracts millions of visitors every year. Split. If Dubrovnik is famous for its historic charm, Split, about 4 hours away by road, is known as a lively and bustling port city. Situated on the coast, Split is the largest city in Dalmatia and one of Croatia's most important historical centers. At the city's heart stands Diocletian's Palace, a Roman structure built over 1,700 years ago. Today, modern life still continues within its ancient walls. Dalmatia itself is familiar to many people because of the Dalmatian dog breed. Although the exact origin of the breed remains debated, its name is believed to come from this very coastal region of Croatia. Osijek. Osijek lies deep inland and is the largest city in the region of Slavonia, one of Croatia's historic regions that was once a separate inland kingdom. The city developed along the Drava River, which flows beside its northern edge. Even the name Osijek reflects geography, as it comes from an old word meaning a place where the waters recede, referring to the safest and driest ground among surrounding wetlands and shifting rivers. Unlike much of the country, Osijek is known for its abundance of green spaces. Often called Croatia's greenest city, it contains 17 major parks. Zadar. Located roughly midway along Croatia's coastline, Zadar is built on a narrow peninsula stretching into the Adriatic Sea from northwest to southeast. This geography creates a narrow channel with the mainland, forming a naturally sheltered harbor. Zadar itself is also home to the famous sea organ mentioned earlier, and right beside it, a giant solar-powered installation called Greeting to the Sun, which produces impressive light displays at night. Meanwhile, inside the peninsula, a Roman grid traffic network remains strictly enclosed by massive Venetian stone walls and fortresses, effectively creating a highly compact urban boundary. Rijeka. Far to the northwest, on the shores of a sheltered bay, Rijeka serves as Croatia's largest seaport and one of its most important trade gateways. Unlike Dubrovnik or Split, Rijeka is less known as a resort destination and more for its industry, shipping, and commerce. Its busy port, shipbuilding industry, logistics sector, and manufacturing activities have made Rijeka one of Croatia's key economic centers. And finally, Pula. Pula is a relatively small city, yet it is the largest urban center in Istria, a region located mainly on the Istrian Peninsula. The city lies at the peninsula's southern tip. Pula grew around a naturally enclosed bay and contains layers of architecture from different periods. Ancient Roman remains dominate the city, most notably the limestone Pula Arena standing near the waterfront. Another landmark is a four-pointed star-shaped fortress built in the 17th century by a French military engineer. Today, Pula remains a key maritime and economic hub for Croatia. And that was a brief look at Croatia. Special thanks to the Croatian National Tourist Board for supporting this video and providing many of the images featured here. Thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to subscribe.